Hello, all you new viewers, and welcome all you old vaping friends. You have found the Chaos Vaping channel, and today I'm just kind of hanging out, vaping, and I figured, hey, it's time you do another review. We're way due for a review, so today I'm gonna try and cram two reviews into one video. So hold on to your hats. This may be a long one. Speaking of hats, look at this sexy thing. Oh my goodness, so beautiful. My only fault with it is a snapback. You know, a snapback. Not a huge fan of the snapbacks. I like the fitted better, but the hat was just too cool not to buy. All these little dead mouse logos actually glow in the dark. So cool. Anyways, we're not here to talk about hats. We're here to talk about vape and what I'm vaping on. And right now, I'm vaping on a Tesla mechanical mod. And oh my goodness, is it ever so tasty. Got an Omega strapped on there with some faux hawk sauce and sub ohm. I think it's like 0.7 and just so good. But it's not just about the Tesla mechanical mod today. We also have up for review the Tesla APV. Let me screw the atomizer on here to show you what she looks like all together. Look at that, sexy as can be. Is it on? Usually helps if it's turned on first. Most of the time it won't fire without it being on. And by most, I mean all the time. Oh, 1.3 rebuilt head in an aero tank. Oh, so tasty. I have some, what's in this one? Thug juice in here. Very good. But yeah, we're definitely going to take a look at both these mods today. We're going to talk a little bit about them. Talk about pros, cons. Towards the end, I'll give you my official thumbs up, thumbs down. But it is always, and as always, IMO, in my own personal opinion. These are not meant to be any sort of total conviction on the quality of the product. That is up for you to decide. But I do thank you for coming here to view my video and get my personal opinion on it. So yeah, I say let's dive down. Let's give this an up close look so we can talk about these mods. What is he gonna do? He's gonna do a double toot transition. Well, hello and welcome to the up close segment. As I had mentioned before, I'm going to do two mods in this review. So we're going to take an up close look at two of my Tesla mods. To start, we will look at the mechanical mod. Here are the two parts. Surprisingly, two parts. Most mechanical mods have three parts. I'm sorry, I didn't quite have the time to polish this before we started, and this particular mod is a fingerprint magnet. So it is going to be kind of fingerprinty, but as you can see here, this is the Tesla, I think it's the M2, it's either M2 or M3 mechanical mod. This is the battery tube and 510 connection. Unlike most mods, these two parts are totally attached together. They do not come apart, which I would say is one of the few things that I dislike about this mod. It's not the worst thing about this mod, but it is definitely a fault. So there you have a normal, simple 510 connection. The center pin is not free-floating, another problem. I've tried, I don't know if you can see it down in there, I've tried pushing the battery terminal to try and raise the 510 connection. It does not work. You have to go in there with a pick or something small and actually wiggle that connector up to ensure that it connects to your atomizer. Kind of a big fault, but like I said, not the worst thing. The worst thing about this mod, and I don't want this to seem like all I have to say for it is bad things, because it is the mechanical mod in which I use the most right now, but there is some massive issues. Their switch design is not the smartest I had ever seen in the world, but it's not terrible either. It does have a locking ring that is reverse threaded, so it kind of helps to keep it from getting stuck, but I have had it get stuck on me. Actually, it wasn't really the locking ring that got stuck, it was this threading to the battery tube which got stuck, and yeah, I had to get some rubber bands and some pliers and really work at it. This spring has a piece of rubber around it, and it has that piece of rubber around it so that it's not making a connection constantly. If this piece of rubber wasn't there, it would just constantly make a connection and constantly fire, so that's not good. This rubber spring kind of idea is not terrible, but it could be a little bit better. My biggest complaint about the Switch, let me see if I can get this spring out of there, is down here. If you can see it, hopefully you can. Inside there is the smallest little snap ring I've ever seen. There you go, you can definitely see it there. If I spin the pin, you can see it a little better. It's a small little snap ring, and that snap ring holds your pin in place, pretty much holds your whole Switch assembly in place. And it's this tiny little piece of aluminum. Extremely disappointing. The major reason why I think it's a massive fault is because a better solution for this is very simple. All they would have to do is thread this post and screw on a little nut. And then not only could you adjust the throw of your Switch, but you also wouldn't have this problem of that snap ring popping off and the whole Switch falling apart. I've had it happen to me at least 2 or 3 times now, so massive disappointment. And that's pretty much it. It's not a very complex mod, so there's not a whole lot to go through. I got the gold finish. I believe it also comes in a black finish, but I can talk more about that when we go back up. I would say that's about it for this mod. Really nice engraving on the bottom and on the tube. It's got these really nice sort of hex style bolts that go on either side that kind of break up that smooth tube like shape, and I kind of like it. You can hold one here and hold the other here and twist your snap ring. Even just twist your snap ring, yeah, twist your locking ring. Even the locking ring in general, if you leave it loose enough, it should spin pretty easily. Like if I really do it right, you know, it's two flicks and it's off, on, you know, that kind of situation. Actually reverse, that's on, that's off. But yeah, it's a nice mod overall. Again, those couple fixes could have been a lot better. I would like to see this be able to be detached. I would like to see a floating center pin, and at least on the Switch have that snap ring replaced with a small nut, and a threaded center pin would make this mod miles better. But for, I think I got it for like 16 bucks, you really can't beat the price. I've seen it run in shops at about like $80, which is a little excessive markup, but good mod nonetheless. Next up, we have another mod by Tesla. This is their APV, and it is really nice. I like it a lot. Let's take my atomizer off here, get the spring out of the way. And here is the Tesla APV, Advanced Personal Vaporizer. It's very cool. It's got a real machined, like milled machine look to it, with these ridges. I like the ridges. They hold nice in your hand. What I noticed in a lot of the other reviews that people don't explain about this is that even though it is a tube mod, it has a triangular shape. You can't see it from here, but you have one flat side here, one flat side here, and one flat side here, which gives it a real triangular kind of shape, which is different from most tube mods. Most tube mods, you just expect that perfectly roundness, and it's got some hard edges to it that are different and cool. I really like it. Let me put the battery back in. As you can see, without the battery in it, there's these big gaping holes on all the flat milled sides, and I guess it's for air venting, for like battery venting, I guess, or it's maybe just an aesthetic choice. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. You put different batteries in it and it looks cool. Let me actually go grab another battery real quick. The only other battery that was readily accessible was an E-Fest, so I'll show you what it looks like with a red. But I also have this really cool 18650 that's like a metallic-y blue sort of finish, so it is pretty matchy with the metallic aluminum. But yeah, so different colors gives a different feel to the mod. I pretty much just run these Panasonic 18650s IMRs, and it gives it this sort of neon green sort of color accent, and it's cool. I like it. I like that color, so I think it's pretty sweet. So now that we've talked about form, let's talk a little bit about function. Oh, one other thing I have to mention on form. It does have an adjustable 510 connection, adjustable center pin on that 510 connection. One thing I do not like is the connector is actually slightly raised from the base of the device. So when you strap something on that's meant to be flush mounted, like for example this Kangaroo Aero tank, there's actually a gap right there. Let's see if you can see that. There's a gap. Not a huge fan of that, especially considering that the diameter of these Aero tanks are like perfect with the diameter on this taper, but whatever, you know, that's like slight aesthetic issues. Otherwise, it's not that big of a deal. So now that we've gone over form, we'll talk about function. 5 clicks on, 5 clicks off. The starting of the loading screen is pretty slow. I would like to see that system on just gone. We don't need to know the system's on. 5 clicks, we know it's on. The other big thing on function, and it's a little bit form too, is these button placement. They're above the screen, and a lot of people don't seem to like that. For me, it's not a deal breaker. Obviously, I bought the mod, but a lot of people don't like it because when you're holding it and you're trying to adjust, as you can see, your thumb totally covers the screen. You can't read it at all. But thankfully, the screen doesn't have a quick timeout, so you can just move your thumb out of the way, adjust, move your thumb out of the way, adjust. Some people are that picky that they can't deal with having to move their thumb away for a few minutes. Even if you pressed your thumb on the sides of the button, you can still pretty much see the screen while you're pressing. So me personally, I don't adjust my voltage my wattage a whole lot because I have this in wattage mode. I pretty much just set it and forget it kind of situation. But some people like to adjust more frequently. Firing button is on the back side. It is the only thing put on one of these rounded edges. It's kind of cool. I like it back there. I can either hold the mod and press it with the second section of my pointer finger, or I can spin it around and press it with my thumb. Either way feels comfortable in the hand, and I just shut it off. Either way doesn't feel awkward. It's, you know, you can get a good grip if you don't want to press it with your pointer finger. You can still get that good grip with the thumb. But I definitely tend to hold it more like this in my hand. It just feels natural. Button's pretty clicky. It's not bad. Very easy to press. Yeah, it's pretty good. The mod only comes apart in 2 places. It's got a battery cap, which has a nice Tesla engraving on it. Wow, that's dirty. It has a very nice Tesla engraving on the bottom of it. Looks pretty. And just a simple spring. It's a good spring. It's nice and stiff. Good conductivity. I haven't had any real problems. I have noticed that the mod does not like button tops as much as it likes flat tops. So if you are interested in purchasing this mod, I would definitely suggest that if you don't have flat top batteries, that you should invest in some flat top batteries. Definitely doesn't like the button tops as much. It'll still work, but you'll get a little gap down here, basically, because the battery, the spring is too strong, and it keeps the battery cap from closing all the way. Other than that, I can't talk much about it. I will mention that unlike any other APV I've purchased before that is a tube mod, it does not have a detachable control head. So it's one shot. The battery tube and the control head are one long unit, which may disappoint some people, because what if you want to run a different size battery in the mod? This is a strictly 18650 mod. I guess you could stack two, what's the short ones? 18350 or something like that are the short ones. You could stack two, but I generally never suggest stacking batteries. It'll fire pretty low. I haven't put anything below 1.3 ohms on it, but I know it will fire a 1.3 ohm coil, so that's kind of nice, because I like the lowest resistance I can possibly get. I like to get some good vapor and some good quality out of it, and you know, those 2 ohm coils, just, they leave something to be desired. So if I can get anywhere below 1.5, I'm a happy camper. But in the 1.5 to 1.3 range is a good vape for an APV, since you can change that voltage and wattage. I'm trying to remember. The menu system in this is somewhat difficult. I didn't know how to do it at first. I actually had to go online and read about how to get into the menu system. I believe it's you hold the negative button for a long period of time, or the minus button. But yes, if you hold the minus button, it will show you your battery voltage. You hold the positive button, and it'll show you the resistance. There's no atomizer connected right now, so it's going to read 9.9. And if you continue to hold the plus button, you will get into your menu. Let me strap an Addy on here so you can see that it actually reads resistance. See, 1.3 ohms on that coil. That's a home-built coil in the aero tank. But yeah, keep holding the positive button and it will bring you into the menu. Once in the menu, it's all run by these 2 buttons on the front. Hello, come on, anytime today. Gotta love this kind of stuff. What's going on, guys? Menu system. Get in the menu. Look at this, my rag's all out of place. There it is. So once in the menu system, you have 3 different options, and you move through those by pressing the plus button. So your first menu is power voltage, so you press the minus button to get into the menu, and then once in the menu, you press the button again to switch between power being wattage, voltage being voltage. I generally always run in power. Then the screen will shut off, and unfortunately you have to hold the plus button again to get back into the menu. This is what I meant about the menu being a little wonky. Second one is LCD display. Give me a minute here. Second one is LCD display, so you can display the wattage or voltage, the resistance, or the battery life. Pretty much I always do resistance, because when you're doing a lot of rebuildables, sometimes things can happen inside your atomizer and cause your resistance to change, and you always want to keep monitoring that, especially with advanced personal vaporizers. Your last one is your LCD on or off. So you can choose to have the LCD on or off while using it. So every time you fire, it's going to display whatever you choose in the previous menu. So if it's battery, it's going to put out 4.1 volts or whatever your battery life is. If you picked power, it's going to show you what your power setting, or I think they only write voltage, but it's going to show you what your voltage or your power setting is at. And then of course resistance is going to show you resistance of your atomizer. So you can choose to have that on or off. I generally leave it on. If you shut it off, it will save some battery life, because every time you're firing, it's causing the LCD to fire and stealing some of that battery voltage. So yeah, that if you want to save a couple minutes on your battery, that's pretty much all it's going to take out of your battery life, but you can get a couple extra minutes off of it. The LCD screen is very low on the chipset, so one of the other things that a lot of people complained about is if you look down the screen at an angle, and you won't be able to see it in this video because of the frosted plastic that they have protecting the LCD screen, but if you look at it from an angle, you can actually see the board. And that caused me to do a little more research, and what I ended up doing was looking down the battery tube. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You probably won't. I'll just end up hitting the camera is what I'll end up doing. Yeah, you won't be able to see it, but in the bottom of the battery tube, most APVs, like the SIDs, the VAMOs, all of those, had a plastic protective disc that went between the chip and the battery. This one does not have one. It has no protection. So you're literally, when you drop that battery in there, you're literally putting it on the end of that chipset. That, I would say, is my biggest complaint about this mod. I don't really have many complaints besides that connector being raised up in the screen. But that is a big complaint, and it's, to me, it's a big issue. I wish more companies would take their time in making sure their control heads are watertight, because accidents happen, guys. You drop this thing in something, God forbid, like the toilet or something, or like you're out hiking and you drop it in a pond or something terrible like that happens. With this, there is no protection whatsoever, so it can be a real problem. I also get into very steamy environments like saunas and things like that, and I'm always very careful about my mods. I really want a mod that I could bring in and vape in an environment like that, and right now I can't because there isn't really a watertight mod right now. But this one I would never dream of bringing into an area like that, but I have other mods that I don't care as much for, so I don't worry about it. But yeah, that's about it, guys. That's about all I can say for the two Tesla mods. They are sweet. They are definitely worth picking up. They are reasonably priced. I think this one was only a little over $20, maybe between like $20 and $30 range. And the mechanical, like I said, I've seen it at shops outrageously priced for $80, but most of the time you're talking $15 and upwards. I've seen it as much as $25 online, but that's the range you should be spending for this, and for either of these, and it's worth it. They are both very good mods. I know Tesla has had a lot more mechanical mods that have come out. They have the M5, the M7, all of those. If your goal is just to get a Tesla mod, then my advice would be to go with one of those over this one, because they're just better built. They're newer. They have all those faults I had mentioned. They have kept those in mind in designing the newer mods. The aesthetic is different. I really like the aesthetic of this one, and that's why I went with it. As far as I know, Tesla doesn't make another APV tube mod, 18650 tube mod, so this is really all you're going to get. It does also come in a black finish, and people really seem to like the black finish. So if that's your kind of thing, you don't want a machine metal look, then you can go with the black. I think it's like a matte black sort of look. But that's all I got for the close-up, guys. So let's go up to normal view and let's vape on these suckers. So yeah, guys, that was an up-close look at the two Tesla mods I have up for review today. I'm pretty much just going to be vaping on this one for the rest of the video because I just love the setup, love the build, love the way that Omega looks on the end of there. It's not quite flush perfect, but it's pretty darn close. The brushed, semi-polished finish kind of matches that gold finish pretty well, especially when it's all covered in fingerprints like mine is. So good, so good. So yeah, as I was mentioning before in the video, with this mod, the non-floating center pin, the semi-poorly designed switch, not so great. But I do like the overall aesthetic of the mod. I like the size, it's nice and small, nice and portable. I like the spring in the actual button. It's not very hard to press. You don't really have to, you know, wrench down on it to get that good connection. But you do have to be careful. Sometimes that rubber grommet that surrounds the spring may get in the way of that pin that causes the connection. So you have to be careful with that. I've heard a lot of stories of people going, "Oh, I put in a fresh battery, I make sure the atomizer's got a connection, it still won't fire." That's probably what your problem is. Your problem most likely is that rubber grommet is getting in the way of that pin. But once you get it past that, it functions totally fine. I don't have any equipment to measure the voltage drop that the mod itself has, but from what I can tell, it's a minimal voltage drop. It seems to work pretty well. Probably not as good as an all copper mod, but again, we're talking massive price differences here. I don't have a whole lot of money to spend on authentic high-end mods. I mean, who has the $120 every time they want to try a new mod? What I do like about this is Tesla provided this mod at a reasonable price. So even with markup that you tend to get from vendors, it's still in that lower range, around like the $20 to $30. But burp life. But if you do want to spend a little more money, there are better mechanical mods out there that will that are around the same size and for the same function. Again, I really like gold mods, so when I saw this one came in a gold finish, I was a little bit smitten. Not only that, I'm a big fan of Nikola Tesla, so the fact that there's a company out there producing mods that call themselves Tesla kind of spoke to the inner nerd to me, and I was already planning on buying their APV. Let me take a toot on this one real quick. So when I saw that they had a mechanical mod that was in a reasonable price range, I figured I'll just pick them both up at the same time. But yeah, great function, beautiful form, minor flaws. Overall, I give it a, not a thumbs up. I mean, if maybe if you had a free floating center pin in there and you had the nut instead of the snap ring like I had mentioned, you would be totally getting a thumbs up. I would totally overlook the fact that the 510 connector doesn't detach from the battery tube. I would totally overlook that for the fact that that you fixed those problems, but because there's at least 3 major flaws with your design, you're getting a middle grade. I would even say borderline thumbs down. I've been using it for a while, and I like the look of it and like the simplicity of the design. So that's why I'm not totally giving it a thumbs down. But it is that borderline, like, oh, almost thumbs down. Uh, Overall, it's a pretty good vape. Let me put the locking switch on, set it down, and pick up the APV. The APV, in my opinion, gets a big old thumbs up. I like it a lot. I like its form and its function. Both work really well. I like its durability. I've had a couple tube APVs now. I've had, Vamos, SIDS. I can't think of any off the top of my head. Was it iTaste, SVDs, things like that. They're all very nice mods, but they have lots of parts and components, and that's one thing I like about this, is the fact that the control head doesn't screw off the battery tube. I pretty much only run 18650s, so the fact I can't change the size doesn't affect me whatsoever. And what that solid design gives you is durability. I've dropped this thing more times than I'd like to admit, and all that has happened is a few minor scratches that if I was to, do some refinishing, I could totally make disappear. So it's a really durable, high quality mod, and it's light. It's an aluminum body, so it's actually lighter than a lot of mechanical mods and other APVs that are similar to it. I believe it's lighter than the Vamo and probably around the same weight as the SID. Only have 2 major cons for the thing, like I had mentioned in the video. The screen placement could have been better. They very easily could have put the buttons below the screen instead of on top. So when you're adjusting your power or voltage, your fingers are in the way. That's a pretty big flaw, but not nearly as big as the fact they didn't seal the inside here. I would have really loved to see some sort of seal on the battery side of the chipset. That would make it a lot safer for humid days and things like that. But otherwise, it's pretty good. The other minor fault I have with it is this non-flush mounting here. I understand why they do it. They have ego threading on the inside there, so it makes sense. But again, if they set that 510 connection a little bit deeper in there, it would have been nice. Also, they have this weird, I don't know if it's an actual beauty ring or what. I haven't been able to detach it, but up top here, this section, it seems to have a little gap right here in the metal, so it's not one solid piece. So that makes me think this part could come off somehow. But they also cut these weird grooves in the 3 sides that match up with these sides. I don't really see the point or purpose in those. They don't add anything to the aesthetic of it. Maybe it was put on there because that's how they connected this top ring to the body. I'm not sure why they're there. I could take it or leave it. They don't really add anything to the look, but they don't really take anything away either. Probably look a little bit cooler if those were totally flush, but at this point I am totally splitting hairs, so I definitely give it a big thumbs up. It's variable voltage, variable wattage. It goes from 3 watts to 15 watts, so that's average for most APVs. It does round robin across. Let me check the voltage. I don't remember what the voltage power band is. Let's find out, shall we? So it goes from 3 to 6 volts of power, which is pretty nice considering most batteries only pump out about 4.1 to 4.2 volts at max, so you can really sort of boost it up there and get some of that higher power by just by a voltage adjustment. That's a 1.2 ohm coil, and I just set it to 5.5 volts. In general, I don't use voltage. Most of the time I use wattage. I like using wattage over voltage because no matter what atomizer I strap onto this lovely mod, when I'm adjusting wattage, I know that it's set to the right voltage in comparison to my resistance of my atomizer. And that's the real benefit of using wattage over voltage, is that say you have a 2 ohm coil, you put it on there and you vape it, it's gonna output the proper voltage to match strapping on a 1.5 ohm coil. So that's what the setting wattage does, is it automatically adjusts that voltage to match your the resistance of your coil and output the same amount of wattage. So it's kind of cool, it's kind of nice. I like vaping that way when I'm using advanced personal vaporizers. I pretty much don't buy advanced personal vaporizers that don't have an adjustable wattage. I had a couple spinners and twists and things like that, and most of the time, if you're going to be a strictly voltage regulated mod, you probably want some sort of turn style switch, so that way you can adjust to taste. That is what I suggest for people who have straight variable voltage devices, is adjust to taste. Just put your atomizer on there, set it to the lowest setting, vape on it, and increase in small increments until you get the vape you want. Where the wattage, you just set it at the wattage you want. I generally vape at like 13 watts and just go to town. Oh, so tasty. But yeah, it's great mod. Big thumbs up. So that's all I got for as far as the mods go. Wanted to talk to you guys real quick about a few other things. First off, upcoming reviews. I want to do another juice review. I had a lot of fun with my first juice review. Mount Baker Vapor is a great company. I really like their juice. I also found another company called Stewed Juice, I think is what it's called. Stewed, something like that. sejuiced.com. Stewed. I don't know what it's called, but they're really good juices, really good flavor, so I will have an upcoming review for that. Also, I got a few new dripping atomizer clones, one of those being this Omega clone right here. Just got those. They're EH Pro clones, really awesome. The other one is an Atomic, so I will be doing reviews for those hopefully shortly. I want to try and start pumping out more of these. Summertime is a hard time for me. I also play disc golf, and when it's a beautiful day, I try and get out there and play. So I pretty much stick to the rainy, stuck indoors days to do my reviews, and they've been kind of far and few and in between. So hopefully I can set aside some more time for vaping reviews, so I can get some more out for you guys. Hopefully some more coil building demonstrations. I haven't done a coil build in a long time. I've kind of just been doing simple coil builds and kind of stepping into the sub-ohm range more, and it's a lot of fun. Hey guys, what's up? So when I first shot this video, at this end segment here, I had a little tirade about looming FDA regulations and how we all need to come together to fight these unfair regulations. And shortly after, a wonderful fellow vapor, Rip Trippers, built a website to assist us in this. So where originally I had just mentioned for you to go to CASA and to sign up and become a member if you weren't, and if you already are, to follow their calls to action. And I still suggest you do that. I will post a link right up here for that. It should bring you right to the CASA site, and just join, become a member, follow their calls to action. It's very important. But also beyond that, what you can do is you can go to another site, and I will post a link up in that corner right up over there. That will be to that site. It is called free2vape.org, and it is a wonderful site. I will also post 2 videos right here and here. One will be the site, or Rip Trippers himself, talking about it, and the other one will be Grim Green talking about it, because I really like watching his videos, and he does a good job. Other reviewers have done it as well. I believe Suck My Mod did one. I believe Ruby Roo did one. So if you like those reviewers, go ahead and watch their videos. Give them the views and whatnot. Give them the likes and the thumbs up. But I'm sure they're all saying the same thing, which is what I'm going to tell you, is to go and visit this site. It's very easy to maneuver. It only has 3 pages. It has an about page. It has a page for you to sign up and tell your story, and that's basically what this is all about. It's about telling your story, and that information will be sent to the FDA, to your congressman, all the places it needs to go, without you having to put in all the legwork. So they literally cannot make this any easier for you guys. So please take the time right after this video to go do that. There is also on the site information and things that you can print out and hand out. If you have a brick and mortar shop, there's stuff there to promote this site. And if you do have a brick and mortar and you are somewhat of an activist and you like doing those kind of things, then please use that information and do that. Not everyone uses the internet, so it's good to get it out there. But also, you know, they have banners for you to put up on your social media sites and things like that, so please do that as well. The more people that know about it, the better off we will be. And it doesn't matter how long you've been vaping, and it doesn't matter how much vaping has affected your life. It's guaranteed that it's affected your life, and that's what they need to know. They need to know that it has had a positive impact, and that these regulations are unfair, and they can't be allowed to go through. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Make sure to subscribe and keep watching, and as always, may your wicks be moist, may your tanks be full, and may your hearts be warm. See you later, guys and gals.